welcome to a special edition of Treknado. I'm Captain Logan, and look, it's my dad.
Yay!
Dad, it's been a long time since you've been on the channel.
It has been a while.
It's been at least a couple of years. We did a...
Yes, because I've had a 2-year job.
That's right.
That's
been
been 2
years.
years.
Yeah. I see Dad about as often as I did when he lived 8 hours away.
That's true.
But
maybe not now.
Maybe not anymore. So
yeah.
That'll be nice, and maybe we'll get you on camera a little bit more often.
Yeah, I'd like that.
You always come up with really fun ideas for videos.
Thank you.
So we did a list thing last time Dad was here. It wasn't about Star Trek. Well, Star Trek came up, but it was about a whole bunch of different things. This time, Dad has come up with another list. And why don't you tell everybody what we're doing today?
Well, what we're doing, I am big into TOS. Of course, Star Trek, the original series. And I feel like that quite possibly in Star Trek, this may be my only chance to hold a candle to Captain Logan.
that's probably not true. But
so I'm going to try. But I came up with just...
And he didn't, let me say this, he didn't pitch this until he had gone back and rewatched every episode first.
I did. I watched all but one episode, and that's why I have the question.
I can't wait to see what that is.
So,
he did give me the list ahead of time. It's a great set of questions. I'm really excited about this.
So there's 79?
79.
Okay. I watched 78 in the last 2 months.
79 plus The Cage, I think.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's right. There were 79 aired, I believe.
But if you count the menagerie as one, it is 79.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so the very first question I have...
We'll just jump right into it. So 10...
interesting
questions.
10 questions
about the original series.
Yes.
Some of these are like favorites, and some of these are least favorites. So we're going to get positive and negative.
That's right.
And some of this is about episode titles. Some of this is about characters. All kinds of different things.
And right before we just went on camera just now, I told Captain Logan that my idea for this list was for us to not talk about the same 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So I made this very diverse, I feel like.
And when I went into it, putting my answers down, I found myself thinking, I'm going to try to make sure that I don't use the same thing for every question. And you designed it such where I naturally wouldn't have gone that way. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone that way. There were a couple things, but...
So, question number 1.
Question number 1.
Question number 1 is, which character should have had more screen time during the original series?
Now, when you say character, do you mean regular and recurring? Or can this also count like a character that should have appeared more?
Yeah, this could be a one-shot, this could be a regular, it could be a semi-regular.
I went for regulars and semi-regulars because you have another question about like one-shot characters later. Right. So on very few of these did I write down just one thing, because
I'm the same way.
It was difficult not to think of several things that all kind of... It's not as arbitrary where it's like, well, if I say this guy, this also goes really well too.
Right.
My top pick is Pike in A Perfect World.
Oh, okay. Where he's in good shape.
In a perfect world, it would have been nice somehow to have seen more of that character and get a sense of his personality and get a sense of whether or not Jeffrey Hunter really could have like owned that series.
If he could have held his own.
His own, yeah. So like,
no, I think that's...
If Hunter himself could have come back, it would have been really nice to do an episode or two with him and Kirk, or do an episode where he had to come back and recommand the Enterprise because Kirk's gone or something, something like that. But in a perfect world, I would have picked Pike. What's your top one?
My top one, I tell you what I wanted to say so bad. I'll get to that first. I wanted to say, and I threw them out because of the movies. I wanted to say Mark Leonard.
Yeah.
Because I loved Mark Leonard in Journey to Babel.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, you mean Sarek. Well, and Sarek, I mean, his best stuff's in TNG.
Oh, I think so too. But he was a recurring character.
He was.
And so, and he played a Klingon, I believe.
He did, but I mean, we're not talking about actors, we're talking about characters.
Right, characters.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
But like Sarek, I have a really good sense of who he is. And even from his one appearance, like in TOS, Journey to Babel, I know who that guy is.
Oh yeah, very well written. I think he was a great actor.
I can't say he didn't get enough screen time in the episode he was in.
No, that's true. But I would like to have seen more of them. But my actual answer for this is a character who was played by John Winston. He was a British actor. He's living in North Hollywood today at age 90.
Wow.
And he played Mr. Kyle.
Yeah, sure.
I love Mr. Kyle.
Yeah.
And I think one of his most notable, he was in several episodes, but his most notable one was probably having the agonizer used on him.
That was the first thing that came to my mind.
In Mirror, Mirror.
Yep.
Sometimes he was a helmsman. Sometimes he was a transporter chief. And then in Star Trek...
He was kind of a regular extra.
He was.
Lines, but yeah.
He was, and he has one movie credit to his name.
I can't immediately tell you which one it is.
That is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. He was on board the Reliant as the communications officer, and he carried the rank of commander.
But was he Kyle?
He was Kyle.
Was he Kyle?
He was Commander Kyle.
Okay, cool.
In that episode.
Cool. Or that movie.
Yeah. He was Commander
I'm
Kyle.
glad you said that. I didn't right off remember that. And we just did a commentary on that a few weeks ago. Or
Is that right?
I guess a few months ago now.
Commander Kyle was there.
Wow, cool.
And if you go back and look him up, and as far as the actor goes, he's known for Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's all basically he did.
It would have been cool if Continues had grabbed him up.
It would have been. I was sitting there thinking that they didn't.
They didn't do that,
didn't.
as far as I know. So as far as like ensemble cast goes, because TOS of course is different than the other series in that it's pretty much the Kirk, Spock, McCoy show.
Right. And
with the movies especially, we treat it more like it was an ensemble like TNG, but even there, nobody besides those three really gets a lot to do. So obviously there was plenty more to give Uhuru and Sulu and Chekhov as far as character dimension.
That's true.
And hobbies and feelings and knowing more about them. So like those three are a three-way tie for me as far as like regular recurring main characters. And weirdly, I feel like both Chapel and Rand, with much fewer appearances, I understand those characters way more than those three. I think both of those get a lot more dimension.
I agree. So number 2.
Yeah.
Are we to number 2?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2. I could possibly write a book on this question.
Yeah, I bet.
Best guest star.
Especially because Dad goes back and watches a lot of TV from this period and into the 70s and 80s, and I'm sure you go back quite a bit too. And you see a lot of these actors...
I'm very into 60s and 70s, and it doesn't have to be science fiction.
So like most actors that we could bring up that guested somewhere in Star Trek, you could probably throw out 1 or 2 or 3 other places that they were.
Probably so.
A lot of them.
Probably so.
You want me to do mine first?
Yeah, do yours.
Okay.
Best guest star.
My top, and I don't think...
And this is actor or actresses,
yeah,
right? Okay.
Yeah. This one's maybe not completely fair because it's impossible not to count it for 2 roles. So it almost like puts it more over the top because it's one actor with 2 roles. But Mark Leonard is the obvious choice.
No, I agree.
I don't know that anybody else quite gets there, and both for the Romulan Commander and for Sarek. I also runner-up put down Arnold Moss as Kodos the Executioner. I think he's amazing, and
wow, that's going to be funny here in a minute. But okay.
And I put what? Do you think he's annoying? Did you put him down as an annoying character?
No,
okay.
This same category.
The same category, and I also put down William Campbell, but for Trelane and not Koloth. Because I don't like Campbell as a Klingon. I don't think he makes for a very good Klingon.
He was so good in Squire Gothos.
But he's amazing in Squire Gothos, yeah.
He was great. So who's your top?
My top is Mark Leonard.
Mark Leonard.
So do we line up entirely on this?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't. I almost said Mark Leonard. You could say him for several of these probably. That is, I think he was that good of an actor.
But now there's a lot of great one-off women too that I didn't put down, and I imagine one of those is probably here.
I'm about to get into that.
Okay.
I meant to write her name down. This is not my top choice, but the older actress that played T'Pau in Namek Time.
I should have thought of that.
She was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
She was great.
All of Vulcan in one package.
That's right. And when they did the movie Star Trek 3, they basically got somebody to just emulate her.
Which is funny because it's not T'Pau, it's someone else, but it's on the tip of my tongue. I know that character's name, but anyway.
But they kind of tried.
That's right.
I feel like. There is an episode called Conscience of the King.
Yep.
And who I
You went for someone else in that
I
episode.
went for somebody else. I went for Barbara Anderson.
Yeah, sure.
She played Lenore, which was Kodos' daughter.
Logan Caridian, yeah.
And what one of the reasons he mentioned what I do in my spare time as far as what I'm into. She was later in the first couple of seasons of Ironside with Raymond Burr. She was the blonde.
I think you told me about that, but I've never seen that.
Yeah, she was the blonde. And, of course, Raymond Burr played a detective in a wheelchair in Ironside. And I always liked her as an actress. And I thought I'm losing my stuff. I thought she was very good in that particular episode. But I have to say that my number one answer is also one of my favorite character actors over the years. Do you have any idea?
Not right off, because I thought you were going to say Leonard. Like, my mind is blanking now. Wait. It's not going to be Gorshin, is it?
No. It was an episode called The Doom.
Because, like, I love Gorshin.
Oh, I do too.
But I can't put him on this list. Like,
right.
And, like, he's fun in that role, but, like, Battlefield is a mixed bag,
It
right?
is.
Like,
It is. It definitely is. Now, the one I'm talking about is an episode called The Doomsday Machine with William Wyndham.
I'm not a big fan of that performance.
I like
I
it.
think he's too over the top.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about it.
Interesting.
I thought.
Well, okay, he is supposed to be losing his mind.
I thought he was I thought he was so believable.
Yeah, we're talking about Matt Decker.
Matt Decker. That's correct.
Commodore Matt Decker.
Yes, Commodore Matt Decker.
Who is supposed to be the father of Will Decker, but we're never told that for sure.
That was
like,
from the motion
picture, yeah. Like, that is who that's supposed to be. And if Phase 2 had been made, because you know about the failed TV show, or the not made TV show, actually not failed. Do you know about this? Because I did a bunch of research on this when we did the commentary for Motion Picture a few months ago. They were building sets and costumes and things for that show, and everyone was allowed to think that they were still making that TV show up until the 11th hour. Like, everyone thought that show was going to get made. And yeah, it's really interesting. I'll lend you that book at some point. You should read it. It's interesting. But anyway, that's an interesting pick. I don't agree with you.
I just really like him as an actor. Maybe that was
and I've never seen him in anything else.
Possibly that was,
or if I have, I don't right off know what.
Possibly from. That was a career choice for me. I don't know, but I just really like that guy. He was in To Kill a Mockingbird. That was his first movie in 1962.
Mm-hmm.
He won an Emmy in 1970.
Which I've seen, but it's been a million years, and I don't remember him specifically in it.
He was a doctor, if I remember right.
Okay.
Then he won an Emmy in 1970 for Best Actor in a Sitcom for a short-lived sitcom called My World and Welcome to It.
I've never heard of that.
And a lot of, again, this is kind of what I'm into.
Yeah.
But something else that he also did, my wife reminded me of this, that he played the doctor on Murder, She Wrote starting in 1985, and he was in over 50 episodes of that television series.
Wow.
He was a very regular.
I watched that as a kid, but I don't remember him in it.
And everybody that's really into Star Trek will remember that Star Trek did win a Hugo Award for City on the Edge of Forever.
Right.
But a lot of people don't realize that in 1968, the Doomsday Machine was nominated for one.
Right.
But it did not win.
Yep.
But that's who I like. That was my top pick.
And interesting that City won because it was such a, watered down version of that script. And if you've never looked at Ellison's original script, you've got to read that.
Is that right? Because I do like that episode, as you know.
Yeah. I like it less knowing what it was supposed to be. And
I figured you would be impressed that I didn't put Joan Collins on this list.
No, and I would disagree with you profusely.
Yeah.
I don't think her performance is great. Like
because
a lot
I
of
did
people
like
do.
her in that.
Well, and also, like, she's fine. I don't think she's the only person that could have played it. But also, you get clouded, by actors that you already like a lot for other things.
Right.
And you also get clouded by people that you come to not like as much, even if you like them then.
No, you're
so
right.
It's difficult not to have that a little bit. But, like, Joan Collins does fine in that episode. She's obnoxious later talking about it. I don't know if you know about all that, but where she doesn't remember the story well. She thinks that she talks about it like it's a cartoon. She talked about it like Edith Keeler was a Nazi sympathizer. Like, she didn't remember it right at all. It was...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she didn't remember the name of her character, and what she called it was really funny, and I can't remember what it was right now. But anyway.
I've
recently done a lot of research on all that.
And for me, the William Wyndham pick, maybe I'm clouded by some of the other stuff.
That's part of why I said that.
Because I love the guy. And for those of you that are X-Files fans...
Edith Cleaver is what she thought.
Edith
the
Cleaver.
name was the name of the character was, yeah.
Wow. Her son Wally.
Yeah, right. Precisely. That's the first thing I thought of, too.
But William Wyndham, for those of you that like X-Files, was in a late episode of X-Files, too. He worked till he died, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Next category.
The next one is most annoying guest star.
So I already know who you're going to put down.
I don't think you do.
Really?
I think you're going to be amazed.
You didn't go for Mudd.
No. And
because you hate Mudd.
He was high on my list.
And you complain all the time about Mudd.
Yeah.
And I'm not the biggest fan of those episodes, but I don't think they're as irritating as you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one is better than the other, but...
Who did you pick? Most annoying.
By the way, I love this category. This is not a thing I ever would have thought to try to come up with.
See, I tried not to do best and worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I tried to say it in a different way.
I went for Robert Brown as Lazarus.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't like that episode. He doesn't help it.
Yeah.
It's not all him. I mean, a lot of it is
his writing.
And weird directing choices and stuff. But yeah, I just that character's irritating.
What I really wanted to say in this, I think probably if you did a nationwide vote on this among Trekkies,
yeah,
quite possibly the guy in The Children Shall Lead.
Yeah.
He was awfully annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you who it was for
Again,
me.
I thought that was too obvious, so I just strayed away from it. But
I tell you, I kind of did that too. I tell you who I picked.
But that would be in my top 5. I mean, certainly. Is that the one? Is that the guy with the bicycle wheel? Or I always forget which guy it is.
He was the big fat guy that had the children all around him.
Oh, you mean that guy? I think. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different episode. You think? Wow. Okay. I think just that episode itself, like as a script. No, I was thinking of The Way to Eden, the guy with the bicycle.
I actually like that guy.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I thought for the they were trying to do a Flower Child episode.
No, I know. Yeah.
And he was a good pick for what they did.
They did it better in third season 60s Batman.
I thought he had a lot of fun with it. But
so who did you go with?
Who I went with, and this lady had a good career, and she was in some other good things. But I went with the episode Operation Annihilate, and Joan Swift, that played Captain Kirk's sister-in-law.
Wow.
She was in sick bay, and she had a shrilling voice, and she screamed till she died.
Oh, I remember that now. That just didn't even come to me. Yeah.
That drove me crazy.
Yep.
Even as
it's
a
hard
child.
not to immediately think of, and you can do this in like several Star Trek series. It's hard not to immediately go to like who screams a lot, who like makes a lot of noise.
She screamed till she died, and it was shrill to me. And you know that's voices. That's an opinion. That bothers some people, and some people it doesn't. But that just drove me crazy. And I can remember as a child watching these episodes that let it end. Well, she finally died. So I guess it ended.
And like Jack Nicholson, you were glad she was dead.
That's right. I'm glad you're dead.
What is your next category?
My next question. That surprised you, didn't it?
It did. It did. I
figured that would surprise you.
That was one of those that I thought you wrote so you could complain about Mudd.
No.
I really did.
I didn't. I was actually very nice about it.
But he would have been up there. He would have been in your top 5, probably.
He was second for me.
See?
Yeah, he was second.
How do you feel about Alon of Troyes? That was also on my list.
That was probably third. And I'll tell you who else was really high on my list.
But that was a character that was supposed to be annoying. But I still think she overdid it.
Let me tell you who I almost put this down for the top until I stopped to realize that I was wrong about something.
Okay.
I almost put down the woman that was in Turnabout Intruder.
So did I.
But it wasn't her that was annoying. It was Kirk trying to play her. That's what was annoying.
Yeah. I don't think her performance is good, but it's not annoying. She's not even trying to be like Kirk.
No.
So she doesn't do it well,
but
that's different than annoying.
He was trying to be like her, and he was annoying.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But then he did a better job of being her than she did.
Well, he did. Yeah, he definitely did. Okay, the next one.
Yeah.
If you can't,
we're on to number 4.
If you can't guess this on me, you have forgotten a lot of your childhood. But
maybe, yeah.
Favorite alien race?
I mean, I do feel like there's different things that you could say, because, like...
What's your favorite?
So, in TOS, it's...
So this could be Vulcan on to whatever.
But TOS, of course, has a whole lot of one-shot alien races, and very few recurring.
My answer is a one-shot.
Is it? Because then I know what it is, I think. And it might be what I ultimately... It might be my runner-up. So, I have to say Romulans, because they're kind of a genius idea. Like... I wouldn't say Romulan necessarily in any other series, although the TNG Romulans are really interesting. But this is the series that invents them, and they're being an offshoot of the Vulcans and like running away from themselves and not having the logic thing is really interesting. And the reveal in that episode I know what it is. It'll come to me in a second. But anyway, but the reveal that the Romulans look just like Vulcans and we didn't know who they were for all these years, and the Earth-Romulan War from the 22nd, that's all really fascinating. So that's probably my number 1 pick, and they're always good.
Is Romulan?
And they're always good. Like Enterprise Incident, the female commander in that is really interesting. But my runner-up is Gorn, and I'm assuming that's probably your top.
I almost said Tribbles.
Did you really?
Because
that's hilarious.
I like the Tribbles, and my wife's favorite is the Andorans.
They don't do anything with them though.
No, but she loves the Andorans.
Yeah, but like it's just the look, right? Like they don't know what they are until Enterprise.
My top alien race, and I'll tell you somebody else that I almost put down. I almost put down the Kelvins.
Oh, okay.
Because they're the ones that you never see them in their real form, but they supposedly have 100 tentacles.
Yeah,
and I thought they were cool, but it's the Gorn.
Yeah,
it has to be the Gorn. You know,
it's a cool design.
Run around on a planet full of rocks, being chased by reptilian.
Well, one thing you gotta give TOS is
that was Arena, by the way.
Arena, yeah, it tried really hard not to make everybody look too humanoid.
Right. I thought when Jay was younger, I would go into Star Trek chat rooms, and my handle was the Gorn Captain.
Yeah.
And I got more comments on that because people go, "Wow, I forgot about them." But I like the Gorn. I wish they had done more with them.
Balance of Terror. I just sat here this whole time trying to think of Balance of Terror.
Balance of Terror, yeah. Okay, dumbest episode premise.
So again,
and we're halfway home with this question.
Again, the obvious thing to say is, of course, Spock's brain. But I think there are...
I like that show better than a lot of people.
Than other things. Well, but you just said premise. Like,
no, you're right.
A lot of people don't like that episode because of premise over execution.
Right. No, I agree.
And...
I understand that.
It is a very, like, sci-fi channel original movie kind of idea, right? where like, it feels like we're out of ideas. And when people are talking about, like, the Freak of the Week episodes in Season 3, like, that's not exactly one of those, but... It's not exploring an idea so much as doing just like a goofy, almost Lost in Space kind of premise, right?
Right.
So that has to be up there. It's probably in the top 3. But like Omega Glory is awful, and that's kind of a dumb idea in the first place. And Turnabout Intruder. And the reason I'm putting Turnabout Intruder on that list, and the reason it's my top, is just because
that's your top.
It's my top. And the reason is because it's the... And they didn't know this as they were shooting it, of course, or at least writing it. But Turnabout Intruder is the last episode of that series, and it so doesn't understand its own continuity that it thinks that women can't get anywhere in Starfleet. Right. It's the dumbest premise.
No, it is.
Because it doesn't fit the rest of what we know about that universe. It really bugs me. Like it's not even like a stupid sci-fi premise. It's just it doesn't fit. We know women can be in command. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you're right. You're exactly right.
I have to pick that.
My top.
There are sillier episodes. You could have said Savage Curtain, but
Oh yeah. Isn't that the one with Lincoln?
yeah.
Yeah. My pick for.
But you didn't say silly. You said dumb premise.
I said dumb premise.
And women can't be in command in your utopian, like, diversity, like diversity filled, like infinite diversity. No, that's the dumbest premise.
My top pick for dumbest premise is probably for most Trekkies the most obvious. I didn't go with most obvious.
Children shall lead.
And the children shall lead. If I hear those kids chant one more time.
Yeah, that's one of those where I gotta ask the question, like, could you have done that and it be less silly? Like, is the issue the premise or is it the execution?
It may be the execution, but it's still dumb. I didn't care for it.
Because as I always say, you can make anything work, you just have to make it work.
Yeah, no, you're
But
right.
you can't make women can't get ahead in Starfleet work. Because it's against your premise.
You mentioned the Savage Curtain.
Yeah.
Kirk even says it in the worst it was written.
And that's even not necessarily a dumb premise so much as just what we did with it, right?
Well, Kirk even said this, and I think about, premise or execution.
Yeah.
I should say that the actor that played Lincoln, Kirk even said he believes he's Lincoln.
Yeah.
He played it he played it very well.
Yeah. Everybody played that really straight.
Yeah, he played it straight. Where are we at?
We're at 6.
Okay, so best episode premise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw mine out there.
Go ahead.
I think the best episode premise. I want to say what I want to say. I want to say City in the Edge Forever. But
and that would be fair. Certainly,
it was good.
And I feel
to
like
me, but
Ellison's a genius. Like I feel like that's another one of those where a lot of people love that episode because the idea is so strong.
Right. The best episode premise to me, though, and I even put this above City.
I wonder if it's mine.
The best episode premise, I think, single-handedly during those years, changed science fiction. Mirror, mirror.
Mirror, mirror. There it is.
It is. We agreed on
That's
something.
the definitive answer.
Yeah, mirror.
There's
mirror.
not a better answer.
That was possibly. I've watched a lot of other
everything in its dog has done that since then.
Yeah,
everything does mirror, mirror.
Did anybody do that before that?
No,
I don't know of it.
Not that I've ever seen. No, I'm pretty sure Bixby came up with that.
And
all on his own.
And like
if there's stuff that predates that, I mean, I'm sure we had alternate dimensions before that, of course, but like the exact mirrored flipped
a mirror universe. I don't think so.
I think that starts with him.
Yeah, I think it does too. I watched I've watched Outer Limits, Twilight Zone. I watch all kinds of things like that, and I've never seen that story.
And again, everything does it now.
And everybody does it. Yeah, it started with that. Okay.
Smallville practically just blatantly called theirs a mirror universe. It's ridiculous.
So those of you out there watching this need to write this down. We actually agreed on something.
Well, I mean, a lot of this we haven't disagreed on. We just had different answers.
I'm kidding you.
But I did have City as one of my backups.
Did you?
Certainly. Because again, just Ellison's a genius, and it's a really good idea. But Patterns of Force is on here too.
I love Patterns of Force. I really did. I thought that was a good episode.
Also a really creative idea.
Yeah, that was very creative.
And yeah, we did a lot of Earth-like Planet episodes, but that was also kind of that was also kind of a bold move to do only like 20-something years after the war was over, right? Like 25 years. Germany banned that episode for the longest time.
Did they?
Also in Germany, Star Trek was, if I'm remembering this right, Star Trek was kind of known as more of a kid show. I'm pretty sure they even rewrote some dialogue and stuff in the dubs to make it more for children. So a lot of the reason that wasn't there wasn't just because it was Nazis and that was too much of a sore spot for them. It was that it was too scary for children.
Yeah, that may be. As far as a premise goes, too, another episode that was high on my list was Tribbles.
Oh yeah, sure.
I liked it.
Ultimate Computer I could have put there.
Doomsday Machine. That wasn't a bad premise either. Yeah, there's several.
Of course.
Okay, so we're on number
7.
Yes.
And
that is Name the episode that Captain Picard would have handled differently.
Yeah,
Other than all of them.
Yes. Well, and I
Almost
started
wrote that, by the way.
I started immediately going through episodes and going, yeah, Picard wouldn't have done that.
No, he wouldn't have done
that.
that. But I guess the way I should have asked that is name the one that he would have handled the most differently.
Absolutely, yeah.
My wife wants me
This is my favorite question, by the way.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. This is great.
Well,
and there's a reason that there are Kirk people and Picard people. You know what I mean? Like,
right. My wife wants me to interject her top pick.
Okay.
Because this was her favorite question.
Yeah.
She said that Captain Picard would have figured out a different way on the apple than destroying Vault.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell you that kind of thing was my big runner-up response, which is just anytime I wrote this down, any episode where Kirk destroys the evil computer and then just leaves the society in disarray to its own devices to figure out how to fix itself. Because Kirk does that like 6 times. Picard would not have done that.
What was the episode where the 2 planets were fighting a computer war?
It's kind of irresponsible. Like,
what episode was the?
I know what it
planets?
is. It's just not immediately coming to me.
That has one of my favorite quotes of Spock, where he tells the.
That's not Operation Annihilate.
No. Operation Annihilate's the pizza monsters.
I always mix this one up with other things. Yeah. No, I know it. But anyway.
Okay, you'll get a lot of people to tell you which one it is. But.
No. I know it. It's just not immediately coming to me.
Okay, so my wife would have said the apple. What
the apple, yeah. Space Seed.
Really?
Yeah.
He would have handled that differently?
Yeah.
Than just give him a planet?
He would have taken him to a star base.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way Picard leaves him on a planet and never... And at the very least, if Picard did leave Khan on a planet, he would have made sure people went back to that planet. Now, there is an instance, this is interesting, there is an instance where he does a similar thing, but it's not with a regular life form, so you have to kind of give it to him, I guess, where he does leave Moriarty in the holodeck for 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And doesn't remember that he left them there and that that's a sentient being, and he comes back for revenge. Not really revenge, he just wants to get off the holodeck, but I mean, like, he's ticked off, he's like, oh, you never came back for me. But I don't think Picard would have done that with Khan.
Probably not.
I don't think it would have handled it that way.
My answer for this is I could not imagine Picard putting together a criminal government and asking for a piece of the action.
I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, he would have come up with some other solution.
I don't think that would have been his
I don't
solution.
know what the solution would have been. Yeah, and I just think he'd probably... Yeah, I mean, like that's a real sticky Prime Directive kind of situation.
It is.
Where like
Kirk even says in that episode that we screwed it up. We got to fix it.
We got to fix it. Yeah.
Because it was a previous starship that screwed it up.
What do you think Picard would have done in that instance? Like would he have done what he does in Who Watches the Watchers, where he would just like he would grab those 2. I don't know if this even would have been smart in this instance, but like would Picard have like grabbed the 2 gang leaders and brought them to the ship and been like, you know, here's what really happened, just lay it out for them?
That's
what
I
he would have done?
That's what I think. They would have had a
like, look, it was all based on this history book.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think he would have done. And incidentally, that I didn't mention it in best guest stars, but that particular episode, the second gang leader, the smaller gang leader, was played by Vic Tayback. And Vic Tayback was quite a character actor and was later Mel of Mel's Diner in the sitcom Alice in the 70s.
Oh, interesting.
He had quite a career.
That's also a thing I've never seen.
Yeah, he had quite a career. Okay, so was that number 7?
That was number 7.
Okay, so number 8. I meant to write this, so I'm going to say this a little differently than what you saw. Episode you wish they had done a sequel to back in the day.
Was it... Sorry, that episode we're trying to think... Was it Taste of Armageddon?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
It was.
There you go. I was just trying to remember that. Anyway.
Spock tells the guard there appears to be a multi-legged creature crawling on your shoulder. Mm-hmm. I love that quote.
It's a really good episode. That's one I don't think to bring up a lot, but it's amazing.
It's a really good episode. Okay, number 8.
Yes.
Episode you wish they had done a sequel to, and I intended for that to be back in the day.
Right. So if there'd been a season 4.
If there had been a season 4.
Mm-hmm.
So which episode would you have liked to have seen a sequel to?
So the obvious answer is Mirror Mirror, which I'm
That's
not gonna,
obvious.
which I'm not going to go with.
Yeah.
Everybody does the Mirror Mirror sequel. Like that seems to be the big thing everybody wanted to do.
Popular one.
I have seen this in extra media like 12 times, where it's always like some writer's take on what going back to the Mirror Universe would look like. Like what did Mirror Spock do after the Kirk speech?
Right.
The best one that I've read, and I'm not done with it, but I've been reading a novel about that. The best one's in a novel. I forget the name of it. It was like 10 years ago. But like, there are comics that do it. There are multiple comics that do it. Like we go back to that all the time. Mine's Arena. Just to not go back to the Gorn
can you
ever.
believe that I didn't say that?
Yeah, but to like never go back to the Gorn.
Yeah. And I said I wish there was more Gorn.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe TNG didn't do it.
Didn't do the Gorn.
Yeah, you'd think that would be one of the species they would want to bring back. But I was surprised they didn't go back to the Andorians either. That it took till Enterprise till we did that.
It did. Yeah, it did. It took a long time.
We see an image of one on a holodeck, but we never actually do the Andorians.
My answer to this, and I tried real hard not to have the same episode for more than one answer.
Yeah, so did I. I mean, I know I said the Gorn earlier,
Right. Well, my episode...
that is my answer.
My episode to this answer is a piece of the action. And the
Really?
The reason is because at the end of the episode, McCoy left his communicator.
Yeah.
And that civilization was imitative.
Yep.
So it would have been fun to have seen what they came up with.
Well, and I think that's part of the reason, or maybe all of the reason, that the episode The Communicator in Enterprise exists.
It may be.
Do you know about that? They do the exact same thing
Do
where
they?
like Reed leaves a communicator, but it's the premise of the episode where it's like Reed accidentally leaves a communicator on a primitive planet. They have to spend the whole episode going back and like finding it and dealing with the culture.
Yeah.
It's kind of boring. It's not great, but they were probably thinking that when they did that.
They probably were. Number 9.
Another runner-up I had on
I'm
that
sorry.
one was you're fine. Was Errand of Mercy. Because I mean, if you think about it, the like that treaty was a big deal, and we talked about it all the time.
Right.
But we never saw them again.
No, that's...
And they also did that at Enterprise.
That's true. Number 9, and I actually did this personally recently. If you were going back to watch all but one episode today, which one would you skip?
I was just gonna say we think of the Organians as a major race, but we only did them that one
Only
time.
one time.
Yeah, at least in TOS. But anyway, which one would you skip? So mine's obvious because I was talking about this earlier, but it's got to be the alternative factor, and the reason, besides just what of Lazarus, who cares, is because I just don't. It gives me vertigo. I get seasick watching that episode. Yeah. I just can't look at it.
I'll tell you what mine is, and actually I didn't say this earlier. I've actually done this twice.
Where you've gone through it and skipped this episode?
And skipped the same episode.
Really?
I've not seen this particular episode in probably 10 years. And we're
gonna do a commentary on it, guys. That's what we're gonna do.
Are you gonna do one on it?
No, you are. I'm gonna make you do a commentary with me
Well,
on this episode you don't like.
You can't do that because that means I have to watch it.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, it does.
it's not that it never came up a while ago when we talked about worst episodes.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. I haven't watched this in years.
Did you have a bad personal experience?
No.
Okay.
I haven't watched this in years. The actress in it was great.
Uh-huh.
But I haven't watched it in years because I just don't care about a 48-minute episode on a dark black soundstage.
Oh, but it's fascinating.
And it's
the empath.
And the empath had Catherine Hayes in it, which...
Part of the reason that episode is cool, though, is because it's so minimalist. Like,
well, Catherine Hayes was on As the World Turns for 38 years.
Mm-hmm.
Quite the actress. She was good in it. But it's a dark soundstage. It's like, we don't have the money, but let's shoot it anyway. And I just didn't really care. It didn't keep my interest. It was boring to me.
I feel like and it's not a brilliant episode or anything, but the soundstage is the thing I like about it.
Really?
Like, yeah.
There's nothing on that soundstage.
But like the premise of that episode lends itself to that. It feels like they did it on purpose. Like it's obvious they had $19 at that point, and that's why it's like that. And there are other episodes that are too ambitious for what they're trying to for the production values they have at that point, right?
If DeForest Kelly had 50 cents in his pocket, they would have had 1950.
That's right, 1950. But I thought the Empath was interesting because you could do it on a stage. Like I always thought it would be cool if like some high school or something just did that episode like on stage.
Well, yeah, I guess you could have made a play out of it.
Yeah,
I guess you could have. It just wasn't interesting to me.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorites or anything.
Yeah,
but I have an appreciation for that. We back when I was doing my Star Trek club, we watched it in club, and I kind of developed a new appreciation for it. But,
did you?
Yeah.
I remember one time you telling me that.
Yeah.
It just...
Nah, I'm going to make you watch it. That's not remotely one of the worst episodes of that show.
It just doesn't hold my interest. That's the thing.
That's fair.
Because here's the thing. We're about to talk about a question that deals with if you're trying to get somebody hooked on Star Trek,
right?
What would you have them watch?
Yeah.
That is the last episode that I would have somebody watch that had never seen Star Trek. Because that's not really Star Trek to me.
That's fair. I think there are even duller episodes, though.
Do you really?
Yeah.
But they're not on the black soundstage.
It's true, but that script is better than some of the other scripts.
Well,
thing.
And I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will give it that. And she was really good for what she was playing.
McCoy's really good in that episode.
McCoy is good in that. That's one of the reasons why I said if DeForest Kelly had 50 seconds, because I remember his performance.
I don't know how you know. You haven't seen it in 10 years, but...
I've seen it.
I probably also haven't watched it in 10 years.
I think it's time to go to number 10.
I think it is too.
Number 10. Best episode to show someone who likes chick flicks but has never seen Star Trek. And this is Captain Logan's favorite question.
It's not. It's not my favorite. It's not a bad question or anything. No, I think you had cooler questions you could have ended on. You could have left it off.
That was actually my first question.
Was it really?
I didn't want to open with that.
But I'm gonna ask you something after we do this.
Okay.
So
which episode would you show a chick flick lover?
So the obvious answer that most people would go to, I think, is Sitting on the Edge of Forever. The reason they'd be wrong, no?
That's not the definitive answer to me.
But I don't think it's the definitive answer either. I think a lot of people that are casual Star Trek fans would think of that because they think of the romance first. But the romance, and the reason I bring it up is because the original the original script for City might have actually made it the definitive answer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because the relationship in that is really good. It's a lot more interesting. They have a lot more time together, and you buy that romance a lot more. So that would have been the definitive romance. I get anybody that wants to say that she and Kirk were like practically soulmates or whatever, but I don't get that in that. I don't get them enough together.
I don't either.
In that episode. No, This Side of Paradise.
This Side of Paradise.
That's the obvious answer. Yeah.
That's my
No,
answer.
that is the definitive answer.
Jill Ireland.
If we're playing a match game, that's the answer.
That was Jill Ireland that played in that episode. And if I remember correctly, she was originally married to the man that plays Ducky in NCIS.
Oh, okay. I've never watched that, but
I thought she was good in that. I thought that was a good episode, personally. But if somebody likes chick flicks, I think that's the answer.
So the thing I wanted to ask you is, outside of the chick flick idea.
Hey, we had the same answer on two of those.
On two of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And other things where we had similar runner-ups.
We did, yeah. We mentioned the same episode several times.
What would you say is the definitive TOS episode to start a person on broadly? Like, not based on, like people's interests and sensibilities, just, like, what is the, like, encapsulation of Star Trek? Like, if you've seen this, you've, like you get the core of what Star Trek is.
I honestly think...
Just to introduce it as a concept.
They were explorers. And I honestly think that a good place to start, as far as episodes that were aired,
Yeah.
would be the first one that was aired.
Cage?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Man Trap.
Was that first, or was Where No Man Has Gone Before?
Man Trap was aired first. Where No Man Has Gone Before is the second pilot.
Okay. Where No Man Has Gone Before is what I would show.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because
that's a good pick.
That shows action.
No, Man Trap was made fifth, but it was aired first.
Okay.
I think fifth.
Where No Man Has Gone Before, we haven't mentioned that episode, but I think that was a good episode to kind of show you what Star Trek was.
Sure, it's also still finding its feet because, see, the problem I have with showing somebody that first is because TOS is all about, a lot of TOS is about the core triad and
right.
is about Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and they're not all together yet.
No, they're not.
You've got a different doctor in that episode.
You know who it was?
I used to.
That doctor was played by Paul Fix, who was the sheriff.
That's not Boyce. Boyce is Cage, right?
I believe.
I can't remember the name of that doctor right off the top of my head, but
Paul Fix played the doctor in Where No Man Has Gone Before, and for those of you into '60s shows, he was the sheriff in The Rifleman.
Oh, interesting.
All seasons of The Rifleman. I love Paul Fix. He's one of my favorite actors, and he played that doctor well. He just didn't have the chemistry, and I think it was because. I think they changed because I don't think the chemistry was there. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
But the chemistry wasn't there between him and Shatner. There was definitely more of a chemistry with DeForest Kelley.
And they needed somebody younger. They needed somebody closer to the age of those other two
that
guys.
was the other thing.
They did that twice, and with the Cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before, where they have these like 65-year-old doctors.
You know, nobody knew back then when they were casting that they were casting for 40 years, but Paul Fix would have never seen it out.
Well, that's fair, sure.
You know, but I mean, hindsight's 20/20. But he would have never seen it out. He died earlier.
Yeah.
So, but I love him as a.
But I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Jeffrey Hunter also died, and he was young. You know.
That's true. That's true. But I love that actor. I love that episode. But I agree with you. The triad's not there yet.
Yeah.
But I still think if you were trying to convince somebody what Star Trek was, I think that's a good example of what Star Trek was. They also got Kirk's name wrong on the tombstone.
Well, they just hadn't come up with that yet, yeah. But I mean, like, at that point, it's still a little bit of a darker, not as, like, flamboyant action show as it'll turn into. Like Roddenberry clearly still had the Cage in the back of his mind when he made that.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't inching close enough to what the network wanted yet. But I would go for, and that, I mean, that's one of my favorite episodes. I mean, it's really good story wise. I think it's still not to say that it's like the most cerebral episode, but we still kind of have a lot of the same ideas we did with the Cage. In our minds when we're making that. I don't think it's real indicative of the rest of the series though. I would go for something like Corbomite Maneuver.
Ron Howard's little brother.
Oh, yeah?
That was Clint Howard.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, that was Clint Howard.
I think Balance of Terror is another good one. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I think it is too. A good one to show if you're trying to...
Just to give you a sense of what it is. And I've always thought this. If you know somebody that like grew up with TNG but they could not get into TOS, the clear-cut, definite go-to, I think, is Enterprise Incident. Because if you go back to Enterprise Incident, it's weirdly like a TNG episode.
It is. No, I agree with that. Yeah, it is. I did not do it as far as best guest stars. I forgot it.
Yeah.
But my wife wanted me to point out to you
that,
and I did not write the man's name down. But in the episode Wolf and the Foe, that's when Scotty gets accused of murder.
It's great.
The guy that actually did the murdering was the voice of Piglet.
Piglet, yep.
Yeah, Sharon loves him.
Yeah.
And he was a big-time character actor.
He was also in the original Odd Couple.
On stage? Or?
No, the film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, go back to the Odd Couple.
I did not know that.
He's one of the poker players. He's one of the friends. Have you seen that film?
I have not seen the original.
It's one of the greatest comedies of all time, I think. It's great.
Then the Another character that I liked, that we didn't bring up, was the guy that played the attorney for Kirk in Court Martial.
Yep. I kind of wanted to bring him up somewhere too, but he just never came up.
He was really good.
Yeah. He's one of the most memorable memorable characters. Yeah.
And I have a little bit of a soft spot for Mr. Atos.
Mr. Atos, yeah.
Mr. Atos played in Gunsmoke.
Really?
That actor, he played in a lot of things. He was a character actor. He played in a lot of things.
Besides City, what do you think is the best time travel episode? Because there are like 4 or 5.
Best time travel. I don't think it's the dude with the cat.
Really? You don't like Assignment Earth? That's a backdoor pilot.
I know it is. I don't care for that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think it would have made it. I think it would have made for a pretty decent TV show, though. I mean, I wish it had gotten spun off, but
I think it would have been a one and out.
Do you?
One and done. I think it would have been one season.
Well, and it didn't have to be Star Trek is the thing. Like, as a spin-off, it didn't matter that it was in that universe.
No, it didn't.
You would have never connected it up, really.
As far as time travel goes, I have to go back.
Is it Tomorrow's Yesterday?
I like that, but I have to go back to City.
I just said Beside City, though.
Oh, did you say Beside City?
Yeah, I said Beside City.
Yeah, probably Tomorrow's Yesterday.
Is it? Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. That woman was kind of annoying. That Kirk finds in the street and he saves her.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In the medieval times. Mm-hmm. Or Salem Witch.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I haven't seen that in a long time.
She was a little annoying. She had the wildest accent. But anyway, I think she was trying to be Old English or something.
Is it All Our Yesterdays when we...
Or Tomorrow's Yesterday.
Or Tomorrow's... When we show up in the 60s at the very beginning of the episode, we're just like, we went back to the 60s. We're just here already.
Oh, yeah, we're already here.
That always cracked me up. It's just, yeah, we're doing some research. We're just time traveling. Yeah, we never do that again. We did the 29th century time fleet thing already. Right away.
Right now.
It's hilarious.
That's hilarious. Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
Really good list of questions.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that. Some things on here I'd never thought about before.
Good
job.
There was actually, and I hope it was like this for you. I want
to do this with other shows.
I've watched them all recently, but there were some episodes I hadn't thought about in a long time.
Yeah.
That made me think of.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't thought about Wolf and the Fold in a long time, but that wasn't a bad episode.
That's one of my go-tos. I go back to.
Yeah, that's not a bad episode.
Sarah really likes Day of the Dove.
I like Day of the Dove.
That's a great episode.
I love watching Kirk slap the Klingon on the back at the end of it. That cracks
me up.
You know
one of Sarah's favorite episodes is too. 3rd season, with Lord Garth.
Oh,
she loves that episode. What is that called? I can't remember right
That's
off.
where they're on a penal planet.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad episode.
That's got Yvonne Craig.
Yes.
Whom Gods Destroy.
That's right.
Yeah.
There was an episode with Julie Newmar.
Yep.
She's in an episode.
Yep, she's decent too.
Yeah, my wife pointed that out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another premise that I got to say this real quick because I didn't have time to say it a while ago.
Two of the 3 Catwomen.
Another premise that I did not like.
Yeah.
Was, and I thought of it because of this, was That Which Survives. That had Lee Merriweather in it.
Yeah.
I met Lee Merriweather. I love her.
Yep, me too.
But that was...
Is that on camera? She's behind us. But...
Is she? But, you know... There she is.
There she is.
Yeah, there she is. Show the folks at home.
Yep.
No, I liked her. I like her a lot. But that premise is basically the people that are now gone had set up a defense system that evidently had been in place for millennia, and it was super advanced, but it could only go after one person at a time. That does not hold water for me.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Like, just hide behind the other dude, and you'll be all right. That bothered me a little bit.
There's a lot of good in Paradise Syndrome, but there's also some silly.
And that which survives
in Paradise. No, I'm just bringing up Paradise Syndrome.
Oh, Paradise.
That's another thing where there's some silly. But
is that where he marries the Native American girl?
Yeah, and he calls himself Kirok, and he hugs himself, and that's one of my favorite bits in TOS. I am Kirok. It's the best. It's hilarious.
You know, that's not an episode that I skip.
No?
I tend to watch that.
I mean, I think a lot of people really like that episode.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't know.
Is that the thing with Leonard James Ackar, or is that someplace else? Where, like, there's the kid that's... No, it's not that episode.
No.
What's the episode with the kid that's named after two of them?
Oh!
You remember that?
That's the Julie Newmar
Is that episode? Okay.
Yeah.
See, you've recently been through it all.
Yeah.
I have not.
That's the...
I watched the first season recently, but I haven't gone all the way up.
I love her. I didn't bring this up because it was annoying to me that I'm sure it was in the script, but they had her mispronounce McCoy's name.
Yeah.
And she kept saying McCoy.
No, you can't say that was in the script. They did that kind of thing all the time.
And that
I'm always making fun of DeForest Kelley for this. Like, there are not very many directors in TOS that were careful about pronunciation, and you know, we had this conversation. I think the most infamous one is Salot to sell it.
Oh yeah.
Remember that in Journey to Babel? He hears it's Journey to Babel, right? McCoy hears Spock or someone say Salot, and he responds, "Sell it? No, you're a person that read a script and we're not listening to the thing a person said to you. That would never happen."
Well, and then in Patterns...
He did that a lot.
In Patterns of Force, William Shatner pronounces Nazis
Nazis.
about 10 times.
Yep.
He keeps saying Nazi.
And another mispronunciation that always cracks me up, and this happens a few times, is whenever anyone, instead of Mobenga, says Mbenga. They like read the script, Mbenga. Yeah.
That's
just like that in TNG too. I can't remember what it is, but so where clearly it's pronounced, it's M apostrophe.
That's funny. Captain Logan, we got to do this again.
We should.
This was fun.
This was fun.
Hope it was fun.
Good job with your list.
Hope it was fun for everybody else.
This was a thing we did a lot when I was growing up, where Dad would just make up lists for things, and we would have to come up with stuff, and I always like your list.
Thank you.
That's a good list.
I came up with a list one time for rock and roll groups with the name band in their name. And Dennis was really young. He was like 7 or 8 years old.
We did this on car trips a lot, where
Yes.
Dad would just come up with a category. We had to name as many things as we could in the category.
Until you ran out.
Right.
And the last man standing was the winner.
Right.
And Jay's younger brother, Dennis, he was in the back seat, and we had all ran out of stuff, and Dennis never got to the end of one of these. And all of a sudden, I told Dennis, I said, Dennis, if you name one more group with the word band in their name, you're the winner. And he goes, the 5-Man Electrical Band.
Forgot about this.
And Jay goes, he's cheating. And we didn't have cell phones on us.
No, there
at that
wasn't
time.
any way he could have been.
No, so we go home, and I look it up, and and I'm somewhat of a music buff.
But you never heard of this.
And I'd never heard of them. The 5-Man Electrical Band.
How old was he at that point?
He was 8. Wow. And the 5-Man Electrical Band did the song Signs. Sign, everywhere.
How did he know that?
And to this day...
He probably just heard on the radio, like a DJ or something.
Probably, but to this day, he won't tell me how he knows that.
And he beat us.
And he beat us with 5-Man Electrical Band.
Do you remember when you said, let's do... Now this has nothing to do with anything. Do you remember the time where you said, this is probably around that time when you were like, let's do bands with types of food in the name. And I was like... The Supremes? It's a kind of pizza.
I remember that. I was thinking more along the lines of Wild Cherry. And
we'd already gone through a few, and I couldn't think of any more, so I was just like...
The Supremes.
I didn't lead with the Supremes, but... Anyway.
That's hilarious.
Well, Dad, thanks for making up the list.
Yeah, I had a good time.
That was a ton of fun. Folks, thanks a lot for watching. Sure appreciate it. And I'm going to try to have Dad again soon and it not be another 2 or 3 years before you're back on camera and we do something cool like this. So we'll come up with something. We always have ideas.
We'll come up with something even if it's not right.
Who cares if we're doing it wrong? Folks, thanks again for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Joe.
Captain Logan's dad.
I'm Captain Logan's dad.
We'll see you later, folks.